I had a strange dream where I woke up as a man in his early 30s. He had a scruffy face with some stubble, and I didn't know who he was. But somehow, I had part of his memories, and it felt natural. After waking up, I started watching TV. The show I saw was a bit like Squid Game, but everyone had a special smartwatch. The watch had a green interface with a time limit, and if the time ran out, the watch would turn red, and then it would be game over. Because their lives depend on it, everyone in the game acted completely crazy. One part of the show showed a crowded dormitory. At the entrance, there was a person dressed as an angel hanging by chains, and inside, the people were shouting like mad, "Jump, jump, jump." The next scene is the mad chef chasing the main character, trying to put a smartwatch on him. And he succeeded. Then I realized something strange. I looked just like that character who had just been forced into the game by the mad chef who had strapped the smartwatch onto him. Now the whole show felt scary and unlucky. I decided to stop watching it. Instead, I went back to bed and slept a little more. I was woken up by sunlight and found myself in a strange room, wearing the watch from the show on my wrist. But the screen was already showing the death date, a red interface. Confused, I decided to look around. I pushed open the door in the room. As I went downstairs, realizing I had actually been in the upstairs of a cafe. The cafe was empty except for the owner, who sat there calmly and said to me, "Welcome to the afterlife." I was so confused and asked him what does he mean. He simply said, "You need to see for yourself." I walked out of the cafe and saw that the world outside looked just like the real world, except everyone was wearing a watch on their wrist. As I wandered the streets, I messaged two of my best friends in a group chat and decided to meet by the cafe. We started chatting and quickly realized that none of us knew why we were here or why we were wearing those watches. All we knew was that this place seemed to be no different from the world we used to live in. At this point, my perspective suddenly switched to one of my friends in the group. Let's call him Tall Guy. Tall Guy realized something strange. While everyone else's watch were in a death state, which is red, his was still green, meaning he was alive. But there were only a few hours left on his timer. This made him extremely nervous. He didn't tell anyone about it and covered his watch with his sleeve. As the group talked, he also noticed that the world he remembers seemed slightly different from what others described, as if he came from a parallel version of it. We decided to explore our own apartments to see if anything was different. Everything in my apartment matched my memories of the real world. But in Tall Guy's apartment, there were subtle differences. Like a small figure on a shelf. It was something he would like, but he knew he had never bought it in his real life. This confirmed to him that he didn't truly belong in this world. After exploring all day, we found no answers, so everyone decided to return home and rest. Tall Guy, however, was terrified when he got home. His watch now showed only 2 hours left. Suddenly, an announcement echoed across the world. Everyone in the game had 2 hours to find the one living outsider among them. If they succeeded, they would all survive. If they failed, the outsider would survive, and the rest would be sent to the next level of the afterlife. This sent everyone into a frenzy. Meanwhile, Tall Guy hid in his apartment, shaking with fear. He thought to himself that, with so many people in the world, they wouldn't find him so quickly. For a while, he felt safe. But as night fell completely pitch dark, his watch suddenly emitted a bright green light, lighting up the sky like a beacon. The people outside went mad, swarming towards his apartment like zombies. Tall Guy was out. I found myself back in the cafe, confronting the owner. What is going on here? I demanded. The owner explained that the afterlife has many layers. When someone dies in one layer, they are sent to the next. Conversely, if the outsider isn't discovered, everyone else in that layer is sent to next. The next player isn't necessarily worse. It's just that no one knows what it will be like. And for most people, the fear of the unknown is the scariest thing of all. Life doesn't get better here, he said. You can only try to avoid falling into the next, possibly worse world. You see, hell is no different than the real world. The only difference is the fear of the unknown, the fear that you could be the next target. Suddenly, fragments of memories flashed through my mind. Suddenly, fragments of memories flashed through my mind. Before I entered the game, I was still in high school, attending an elite private school. We went on a field trip on a private plane. I was sitting in the back row with 2 friends. During the flight, a group of flight attendants surrounded us, took us to small rooms, and tried to force us to wear the watches and join the game. At this point, my perspective switched again, this time to one of my friends, a girl I'll call A. A had been forced to wear the watch. The process was real brutal, so I won't share it here, but A did not survive. Terrified after seeing this, I somehow managed to escape my restraints and run away. I found my car. I drove to the city, thinking it would be easier to hide in a crowd. I parked randomly by the side of the road. I don't see anyone from that crazy group. But as I look around, I realized the restaurant next to me was the same one I had seen in a TV show. The mad chef noticed me from the window and started a wicked smile.